Kamala Harris. I'll pinch that. Hello, I'm H.G. Tudor. Narcissists are thieves. Narcissists are love thieves. They come along and take your love, stealing it away from you, leaving you without it. And what you get in return is just a manifestation of love, a facsimile. It isn't actual love. It's not genuine because the narcissist has no emotional empathy. Narcissists are thieves in the traditional sense. They steal from you. They take your money. They take certain of your resources. Because the narcissist deems that what is yours is also theirs. Lacking boundary recognition, motivated by a sense of entitlement, and of course the driving forces of the attainment of the prime aims. Taking something that belongs to you, whether it's money or a possession, is something that certain narcissists regularly engage in. Narcissists are thieves in the sense that they'll steal your dignity, your self-confidence, your self-esteem, because after the way that you're treated to the sustained devaluation or corrective devaluations, those factors are adversely affected. Narcissists also steal in the sense of taking the abilities, the creations, the achievements of other people and acquiring them for themselves. This is the process of character trait acquisition. If you'd like to understand more about that, watch my video, oddly enough called Character Trait Acquisition. The narcissism creates a construct which is shown to the outside world. The purpose of this construct is to enable the narcissist to attract people for the purposes of control and fuel, to gain more character traits, and to access residual benefits. Thus, shards and fragments and portions and aspects of other people are taken by the narcissist. The narcissist bolts them on and passes them off as their own. This is invariably done subconsciously by the unaware narcissist. One way that this happens is through plagiarism. And Kamala Harris, the presidential candidate, cackling Kamala, has found herself accused of plagiarism once again, which is in keeping with the fact that she is a narcissist. Charlie Spearling writes for the Daily Mail, Kamala Harris has been rocked by a plagiarism scandal as potentially damning allegations surfaced about testimony she delivered when she was a US Senator. Harris is accused of lifting text verbatim from a former colleague for use in written congressional testimony she gave in 2007 in an analysis by the Washington Free Beacon. Thus, this lifting of the text shows a lack of boundary recognition. It demonstrates a sense of entitlement to behave that way. It shows also a lack of accountability for the behaviours. It's part of the character trait acquisition by virtue of taking a creation by somebody else and passing it off as that of the narcissist. It also exhibits an absence of emotional empathy by virtue of the fact that taking somebody else's work and making it seem like your own is simply unfair towards them. The latest allegations about Harris come hot on the heels of another scandal over whether she actually worked at McDonald's in college, as she has claimed. In relation to those allegations, she has been suggested that she has revised history. McDonald's finally revealed why it doesn't have records to verify Vice President Kamala Harris's claim that she worked at one of its restaurants in the 1980s. They explained that we don't have records for all positions dating back to the early 80s. During a rally with fast food workers in 2019, Harris said she used to work at McDonald's in college. In April 2024, during an interview with the Drew Barrymore show, Harris repeated her claim that she did fries at the restaurant. The Harris campaign has since stated that Harris worked at the Central Avenue McDonald's location in Alameda, California in 1983 during the summer after her freshman year at Howard University. However, the campaign has been unable to provide evidence to prove the vice president's claim, such as a photo, a pay stub, or a fellow employee that can confirm her employment. Employees at the franchise were told not to speak about Harris to reporters. An employee said, "I'm sorry, I don't have any information," when Daily Mail contacted them on Monday to ask if Harris had ever worked at the franchise location. The suggestion is that she's told a porky pie that she has revised history, and whilst we've seen the Donald serving up some fries and working at McDonald's recently, the suggestion is that this is another aspect of Kamala Harris which is not genuine, that she's told a lie, that she's revised history to make herself seem more relatable, a little bit like another well-known narcissist I regularly speak about. But there's more. It also comes after she was previously accused of copying, word for word, several blocks of text in her book, Smart on Crime, published in 2009. The latest plagiarism allegations arise from testimony Harris gave as a senator in support of the John R. Justice Prosecutors and Defenders Incentive Act of 2007. It was a bill that would help pay student loans for state and federal prosecutors to keep talented lawyers in the profession. Talk about self-interest. Harris's interest in the proposal was personal, as she spent her early years as a career prosecutor before she ran for political office. But her written statement in support of the bill sent to the House Judiciary Committee was not about her own experience. Instead, it reflected nearly verbatim text sent by District Attorney Paul Logley of Winnebago County, Illinois, a Republican, in support of the bill. Of the 1,500 words in the testimony, 80% were exactly the same as Logley's submission, according to the Free Beacon analysis. It's unclear whether both political figures were using the same source text to write their testimony. The similarity could have resulted from sloppy staff work. Okay, so those are some of the considerations in relation to it. Or it could well be that Kamala Harris plagiarized. And she does so by way of this character trait acquisition, which makes it easier for her to get to the prime aims. Why put in the effort of original thought when you can just pinch something belonging to somebody else? It's faster, it saves time. And remember, the narcissism is all about the conservation of energy. It's all about trying to ensure that the narcissist gets to the prime aims with the minimum of expenditure of effort and outlay. Thus, Kamala Harris's narcissism sees nothing wrong in directing her to take the words of somebody else and pass them off as her own. Certain narcissists are imaginative, are brilliant at what they create. They might take an idea from somebody else and vastly improve upon it. They might take a concept that somebody else has originated and develop it further. But many narcissists, as a consequence of the fact that they are empty and lacking ability and skill, and driven by their narcissism, simply take what somebody else has created and make it seem like it's their own. And because they have no emotional empathy, no sense of conscience, no sense of guilt, there's no problem in doing this. They don't see that it is an issue. They may recognize, if mid-range, that other people could complain about it, but the narcissism always provides a justification for why they have done what they have done. And here we have another mid-range narcissist accused of plagiarism, emphasizing how she has no boundary recognition, that she operates with a sense of entitlement, that she has no accountability. And also, for someone who was a prosecutor, isn't that bright either? Something we've seen as a consequence of the fact that she's done so few interviews, and the ones that she has done, she's been fed the questions beforehand. She's an individual that isn't very good at thinking on her feet, but doesn't see that as a drawback, because her narcissism shields her from it. The new plagiarism report places new emphasis on Harris's use of other people's work, as she was found to have plagiarized several blocks of text in her book, Smart on Crime, that she published with co-author Joan O.C. Hamilton. The allegations were uncovered by author and activist Christopher Rufo, who published details of passages in question earlier in October. The report revealed that Harris copied verbatim content from Wikipedia, Goodwill Industries, her partner on her Back on Track crime program, and other online sources. The Harris campaign did not return a request for comment. In the book, Harris lifted an entire section of text from an Associated Press story published in April 2008 about low graduation rates. In another section of the book, Harris included extensive sections from a John Jay College of Criminal Justice press release, nearly verbatim, without attribution. A side-by-side comparison showed Harris lifted part of her book from Wikipedia, without properly citing the online encyclopedia as her source. Another example included language copied directly from a Bureau of Justice Assistance report on crime statistics of West Palm Beach. They not only lifted material from sources without proper attribution, but in at least one case relied on a low-quality source which potentially undermined the accuracy of their conclusion, Rufo wrote. Thus, repeated instances of plagiarism. Now, non-narcissists can plagiarize. They may do so, for instance, because they're lazy. They may do so because they've not got around to writing that thesis and suddenly realize they haven't got enough time to finish it, so they go and take the information and material from elsewhere. But a narcissist will plagiarize. Not all will do, but many will. And here, because we know that she is a narcissist from earlier analysis, this is just a demonstration of her behaviour, which continues to reinforce her narcissism, as, by virtue of character trait acquisition and absence of boundary recognition, a sense of entitlement and a lack of accountability, all put together with an absence of emotional empathy, she takes something that belongs to somebody else, passes it off as if she's thought of it, and does so in order to pursue the prime aims. Typical behaviour, typical lazy behaviour of this mid-range narcissist. And it certainly doesn't augur well for somebody who's running for office. I'm H.G. Tudor. Thank you for listening.